Welcome to the Christian Spiritualism channel. As the title says, this video is about the BS Christianity taught me against spiritualism. Let's start with a few clarifications. By spiritualism, I mean the science, philosophy, and religion known as modern spiritualism. By Christianity, I mean mainstream Christianity, a term used to collectively refer to the major groups of Christianity, including Roman Catholicism and Protestantism. And by BS, I mean biblical scriptures, at least for now anyway. Christianity taught me spiritualism is a demonic religion practiced by Satan worshippers, including witches calling themselves mediums who call upon evil spirits posing as our deceased loved ones. This teaching was mainly supported by Old Testament scriptures found in Leviticus 19:31 and Deuteronomy 18:10 through 12. I'll quote these verses from the King James Version, which for the first 20 years of my life, the church I attended claimed was the only true, reliable version of the Bible. Leviticus 19:31 says, "Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them." Deuteronomy 18:10-12 reads, "There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord." Are these verses actually describing spiritualism? I used to believe so because that's what the church taught, and I thought I could trust the church to teach me the truth. Being otherwise unfamiliar with spiritualism at the time, I didn't know any better. But let's look at the terminology used in these scriptures, and I won't use my own definitions. I'll use Christian sources. One source is a Bible commentary titled The Exploratory Notes on the Bible, written by John Wesley, a founder of the Methodist Church. According to Wesley, witches are those who have entered into covenant with the devil, by whose help they foretell things to come and acquaint men with secret things. To use divination is to use unlawful arts and practices to foretell things that are secret or are yet to come. An observer of times is someone who superstitiously pronounces some days lucky and others unlucky, or an observer of the clouds or heavens, one that divines by the motions of the clouds, by the stars, or by the flying or chattering of birds. An enchanter is one who discovers hidden things by a superstitious use of words or ceremonies, by observation of water or smoke, or any contingencies. A witch is a person who is in covenant with the devil. A charmer is one who charms serpents or other cattle, or a fortune teller that foretells the events of men's lives by the conjunction of the stars. A necromancer is one who calls up and inquires of the dead. The Bible uses the term familiar spirits. Mainstream Christianity taught me familiar spirits are the spirits of people who I've known in life who have died. But an explanation found at the website BibleStudyTools.com says, a familiar spirit is a spirit called upon by a witch, sorcerer, or necromancer to carry out their spell or to obey their commands. Knowing now what spiritualism really is, I know what Christianity taught me is not true. Christianity seems to have spiritualism confused with something else, such as certain types of witchcraft, magic, or fortune-telling. Christianity's teaching is not rooted in truth, so from where does it come? Is it just religious tradition? Is it based on old superstitions? Modern spiritualism is none of the things mentioned in these biblical verses. It doesn't teach or endorse any of these practices. Spiritualism does not include any covenants with the devil, casting of spells, or superstitious ceremonial acts. Spiritualist mediums do not call up a spirit, but instead communicate with spirits who willingly come forward on their own. I've had messages through spiritualist mediums from people I never knew. They were not at all familiar to me or to the medium. One gave me a name and said he was family. My son later found his name when working on our genealogy. Another gave me her name and spelled out the uncommon spelling of her middle name for me. I later discovered she was my daughter's great-grandmother on her mother's side of the family. I'd never known her or heard her full name previous to that message. I quoted earlier from the King James Version of the Bible because that's what Christianity originally taught me. There's something I'd like to bring to your attention about the various versions of the Bible. Some of the more recent versions have been conveniently revised to include words that more accurately support what Christianity teaches. In the New International Version, for example, Deuteronomy 18:11 no longer mentions charmers, wizards, and necromancers. It now forbids mediums, spiritists, and anyone who consults the dead. Soon after the New International Version was first published in 1973, it became the preferred Bible of the church I had attended since I was 7 years old. The same church that taught me the King James Version was the only true, reliable version of the Bible. When I asked why we had changed Bibles, the pastor said the New International Version was much easier to understand than the Old English of the King James Version. It is much easier to understand, but maybe there was more to its acceptance by the church than the pastor let on. When you can revise the Bible to support what you teach, there's no reason to admit your teaching is untrue. The truth is, those biblical scriptures the church claimed were about spiritualism did not describe spiritualism at all. Well, not until they were revised. I had been misled and misinformed. The BS Christianity taught me against spiritualism were biblical scriptures that had very little, if not nothing, to do with spiritualism. It all turned out to be just BS of a different kind. Thank you for watching. May God bless you and guide you, and may you enjoy your spiritual journey. Bye for now.